Hello everyone, welcome to Drama Sky. Today I will talk to you about the 2007 classic historical drama, The Ming Dynasty 1566. This drama has a score of 9.7 on Douban, and it is absolutely the face of the national drama, known as the Chinese version of House of Cards. In addition to explaining and sorting out the plot, I will also intersperse some historical background knowledge in it to enrich your understanding of this drama. 1566 was the last year of Emperor Jiajing's reign, and the time span of this drama is not large. It mainly tells about the events of 1566 and the previous few years. This is a critical turning point when the royal power is facing a shift, and various political forces are on the stage at this turbulent moment. The era background of this play is the last years of Jiajing's reign. After nearly 200 years of operation in the Ming Dynasty, this huge machine is facing aging. The most amazing thing is the central processing unit of this imperial machine, that is, Emperor Jiajing. They went on strike. In the 21st year of Jiajing, a palace-made uprising unique in Chinese history took place. Emperor Jiajing was almost strangled to death by several court ladies. From then on, the emperor suffered from persecution paranoia, thinking that someone was trying to harm him all the time. In addition, he was fascinated by Taoism and alchemy, so he did not go to court for more than 20 consecutive years. Emperor Jiajing was a man who was extremely intelligent and well-versed in power tactics. Although he did not go to court, he secretly and firmly controlled the government through the eunuch group. After a long period of tossing, the interior of the dynasty began to become increasingly corrupt. The story begins in the 12th lunar month of the 39th year of Jiajing, a year in which famines and wars arose together, plus there were visions from heaven. There has been no snow in the whole winter. The ancients believed that the sky is a reflection of the order in the world. For a time, there were complaints and rumors among the people. The department responsible for observing astronomical phenomena is Qin Tianjian. The chief of the department, Zhou Yuni, explained why there is no snow in winter.
开支无度，官府贪墨横行，民不聊生，天怒人怨。
This clearly accused the court of ineffective governance. So the eunuch Feng Bao ordered Zhou Yuni to be punished with the court rod. The court rod is a punishment with the characteristics of the Ming Dynasty, which is to push the official down and spank his buttocks on the spot. It is not surprising that he lost his life if he was light and bruised, but if he struck hard, Zhou Yuni was the one who was particularly unlucky. He insisted that his remarks were not instigated by anyone. Literati have weak bones, and they were beaten to death on the spot in 2 or 3 hits. Faced with this situation, Emperor Jiajing could not remain indifferent. So from the first day to the 15th day of the Lunar New Year, he fasted and prayed for snow in the palace, and the chief executive in the world came out. Sure enough, there were different reactions. Soon, the snow fell from the sky, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But this is just the beginning, and a bigger crisis is yet to come. Upper decision decided by the economic background. For an empire, although there are thousands of clues, in the end it is still a matter of money. The Ming Dynasty's finances are now in a huge deficit, and the cabinet and the emperor have to sit together to discuss countermeasures. Here we need to talk about the bureaucratic arrangements of the Ming Dynasty. Ming Taizu Zhu Yuanzhang abolished the prime minister and switched to the cabinet system. The cabinet was only the emperor's secretariat at first, and the taste of the cabinet members was not high. But in the Jiajing dynasty, the cabinet became the power center of the empire. The cabinet was responsible for initiating a series of proposals. It is the white glove of imperial power. This formed a check and balance between powers, and the emperor sat firmly in the middle and controlled the overall situation. From the very beginning, fierce quarrels broke out among cabinet officials. In the middle and late Ming Dynasty, the party struggle intensified. At this time, it was mainly divided into two groups. Yan Song, Yan Shifan and his son were one group, Su Jia, Gao Gong, and Zhang Juzheng were the other group, and Prince Yu stood behind them. The focus of the debate is that there was a fiscal deficit of tens of millions of taels last year. What should we do? The bigwigs in the cabinet outside had a quarrel. But in fact, neither the cabinet nor the ceremonial supervisor had the final decision-making power. The real power was in the hands of Emperor Jiajing behind the curtain. If he thinks the plan proposed by the outside is acceptable, sending a signal to the outside is tantamount to agreeing. Emperor Jiajing didn't even miss a straight face in the first 20 minutes. He is like an invisible judge who listens to the criticisms of the pros and cons, and then makes a final decision. Although he has not been in court for decades, he controls the government in this way. After the quarrel outside, Jiajing finally appeared. He was not dressed like an emperor, but a Taoist priest who made alchemy.
千株松下，两寒经。我来问道，无语说。云在青天，水在平。
Last year's financial deficit was fooled by Yan Song and the supervisor of ceremonies. But what about this year? At this time, Yan Song proposed to increase the production of silk. Because silk has always been very popular with Western businessmen, the profit from selling it overseas is nearly double that of domestic sales, and it is used as an open source of finances. In this way, it is necessary to change many of the current rice fields into mulberry fields, and the breakthrough point of the reform is set in the silk province Zhejiang. When Emperor Jiajing heard this, he was very happy and agreed immediately. In the impression of ordinary people, Yan Song is a surefire treacherous minister. But the excavation of this image in this play is far more than that, and it can even be regarded as one of the best characters among them, very plump. At the same time as the meeting, the director also edited the scene in Prince Yu's mansion in parallel, where the princess is giving birth. After the meeting was over, the concubine also gave birth to the child. This is the grandson of Emperor Jiajing and the future Emperor Wanli. The eunuch Lu Fang, the eunuch of the supervisor of ceremonies, is a man of foresight. He knows that this child will most likely become the heir to the throne in the future. Therefore, he arranged his godson Feng Bao to be the companion of the emperor's grandson Zhu Yijuan in Prince Yu's mansion, so as to find a way out for the future. Feng Bao has always been against King Yu's gang, which is tantamount to putting him to death and rebirth. Since then, the income-increasing policy of changing rice fields into mulberry fields has been promoted as a national policy. But the difficulty of its implementation in reality is far from being as simple as saying a few sentences at the imperial meeting. At this time, another important figure, Hu Zongxian, appeared on the stage. It was an important minister in the late Ming Dynasty, and its greatest achievement in history was to fight against Japanese pirates. At this time, Hu Zongxian was the governor of Zhejiang province. He was in charge of the government affairs and border defense of many provinces. He was in charge of changing rice fields into mulberry fields and fighting Japanese pirates. The implementation of the national policy of changing rice fields to mulberry fields was very unsuccessful. Although Jiajing's original intentions may have been good, it changed at the grassroots level. Rice farmers are generally unwilling to plant mulberry fields. Ma Ningyuan, the prefect of Hangzhou, had no choice but to bring soldiers to trample on the seedlings forcibly. It aroused strong dissatisfaction among the people, and it was about to cause a civil uprising. At this time, Qi Jiguang arrived, saying that he had followed Hu Zongxian's order. Forcibly taking the soldiers away, Ma Ningyuan had no choice but to go to Hu Zongxian for help. At this time, Hu Zongxian was accompanying the eunuch Yang Jinxue to entertain Western businessmen in the Jiangnan Weaving Bureau. The Jiangnan Weaving Bureau was a large state-owned enterprise directly under the supervision of Li Li. In charge of the production and trading of silk, Yang Jinshui negotiated an order of 500,000 pieces of silk with Western merchants. This has greatly exceeded the existing production capacity. If the national policy of changing rice fields into mulberry fields is blocked, it will greatly affect the income of the imperial court. Ma Ningyuan found Hu Zongxian, and several bosses sat down for a meeting. The current situation is very complicated. The reason why rice farmers are unwilling to plant mulberry fields is because it takes a long time for mulberry seedlings to mature. During this period, they may have run out of rations, and the government did not come up with any supply policy, but it was a national policy suppressed by the court. Even if 100 people were unwilling, it still had to be implemented. Hu Zongxian wrote a memorial to the court, hoping to suspend the implementation of the national policy, but Yan Song's son Yan Shifan thought it was a deliberate excuse. Hu Zongxian was single-handedly promoted by Yan Song. In Yan Shifan's view, this behavior is a kind of betrayal. In addition, he has a very good personal relationship with Tan Luan, who was sent to Zhejiang by King Yu. Many things can't be explained again. Hu Zongxian couldn't get rid of his origin, and at the same time, he tried his best to be loyal to the country. He can be said to be the most difficult person in this story. Those intellectuals above the temple have never dealt with such a complicated situation. The following words are full of strong tragic heroism.
千秋万代以后，史书上我胡宗宪还会是严阁老的人。可你谭伦还有朝里那些清流，为什么还会看重我？就是因为我胡某在大事上从来上不误国，下不误民。我的老家给我竖了3座牌坊，我都50多了，活到70也就再熬个10几年，我不会让老家人把我的牌坊拆了。你们都自以为知人，自以为知事，可是有几个人真知人知事的？就说眼下由改稻为桑这个国策引起的大事吧。那么多人想利用这个机会兼并田地，浙江立刻就会有将近1半的人没有了田地。那么多没田地的百姓聚在这7山2水1分田的地方，今年不反，明年不反，后年再后年必反。到时候外有倭寇，内有反民，第一个罪人就是我胡宗宪。千秋万代，我的罪名就会钉死在浙江。你来与不来，我都不会让他们这样干。无论是想劝我，还是想帮我，都只有一个后果：把大局给搅砸了。
Hu Zongxian saw it very accurately. Changing rice fields into mulberry fields seemed to be a win-win plan, but it was likely to become a carnival for wealthy and powerful families to annex the land of small farmers. Although the story of changing rice fields to mulberry fields is fictional, it reflects the biggest crisis at the end of the Ming Dynasty, land annexation. Because the land acquired by the tyrants did not pay taxes to the central government, the treasury shrank day by day, and the difficulties of the Ming Dynasty were all related to this. Well, since Hu Zongxian resisted, Yan Shifan made a ruthless move. He secretly wrote to Zhejiang Chief Secretary Yan Bichang and He Maokai, saying that he would simply take advantage of the flood season of the Dragon Boat Festival to blow open the flood control weirs in 9 counties in Zhejiang. In 9 counties, in order to survive, those farmers had to sell their fields to big households at a price far below the market price. A new character appeared here, businessman Shanishir, who is the boss of a silk enterprise under the Jiangnan Weaving Bureau. He was in charge of using grain to buy the fields of the victims after the flood, which was almost tantamount to robbing. Yang Jinshui of the Weaving Bureau also knew about this matter. Ma Ningyuan, the prefect of Hangzhou, was extremely loyal to Hu Zongxian. Zheng Bichang and others fooled him, making him believe that such a bad move could help Hu Zongxian tide over the difficulties. Because flooding is tantamount to a natural disaster, the blame will not be on Hu Zongxian's body, so he tricked Ma Ningyuan into the fire pit. The Dragon Boat Festival came as scheduled, and 9 weirs burst at the same time. Hu Zongxian never
事先毫无
dreamed
准
that
备
these people would，
堵
do
不
such
住
an
是意料
outrageous
中事。
thing.
9个县9个堰口，我们这里堵不住，那8个堰口更堵不住。他们要的就是这个结果。
那天马宁远给我送山参，我就应该想到的，几百万生民，千秋之罪呀！